All right, let's talk about Outriders. This is a weird one. I really wanted to hash this one out. I've been playing it for a couple of days because I got a review copy. I got a lot of hours into it, and I have a lot to say because it's a weird one, dude. It's so hard to break down because it's like a game that I don't really totally understand why I quite like it, and yet I keep playing. Outriders is fascinating because it technically, on paper, if you look at it, it has so many knocks against it, yet it can still manage to be kind of appealing. What is it? And it's not just me, because I've seen reports and stuff that apparently it's doing pretty well. Steam reviews are still kind of mixed right now, but I think that's because of the server issues the other day. It apparently has done better than other Square Enix IPs launching in a similar style like Avengers. A lot of people have been talking about this. So its debut is surprisingly good, and feedback seems to be generally good, but also not, because this game very clearly, just looking at the before you buy comments section, if you want to see me go more in-depth technical review, I did the before you buy a day or so ago if you're watching this, so go watch that on Game Ranks. But looking at the comment sections, it looks like people either say, oh, this is terrible, this is the worst thing in the world, it's so generic, or people loving it. And I am very much on the end where I played it a lot, and I really am enjoying my time with it. I'm still jumping into it, despite going, that sucks, that's weird, that's whack, that's broken. I still can't help but just jump in and start killing dudes. Also, yes, I'm in a different place. I'm still going to try and get my cat here sometimes, maybe. But this is like where we do the Game Ranks Friday show. It's right over there. So this is my new setup. Thanks for bearing with me. It's still a little echoey, and I need to put cool stuff everywhere. I need, like, toys here. I don't know, but yeah. So in the sense of like talking this out, yes, the loading screens are awkward. Yes, I think the levels are kind of boring. Yeah, the story is kind of like whatever, but also it might be appealing because it's like a B-tier movie type thing. Yes, the game can be kind of busted and there's a lot of weird bugs, and I've had a lot of crashes when I've been playing. Yes, even the game is seemingly like a one-trick pony. You just kill dudes in a third-person shooter and grind loot endlessly. And yes, it's colored, ranked loot with different levels of rarity, and it's like, oh, another one of these. But still, it's pretty fun, and I've been having a good time. Now, there's also the question of, for some people, is it because you got it for free? So for me, technically, full transparency, like I said, I got a review code. But on the other sense, I also have a Game Pass subscription, so I would have just played it on Game Pass anyway. And the same goes for if it was available for free on PC or on PlayStation Plus, where whatever platform it was, if it was given to me just for free and it was kind of like no stakes to try it. And that's what I think this is. I think for some people, they're offering kind of like a no stakes opinion. I don't think that's a bad thing, but I think maybe it should be factored in a little bit. I don't think I would have just immediately jumped in $60 all in on Outriders. But yet at the same time, now that I spent 20 plus hours in it, I'm pretty much glad I did. I also really like third-person shooters, and I think I'm still really trying to nail down why this game works for me, but I think it's because of the whole, like, Diablo with guns thing that people have been billing this as. People have also done that about Remnant from the Ashes, kind of. For me, it's more of like a Borderlands feel, and it's not super games as a service-y, even though, like, at the end of the day, I don't know, you still have to always have an internet connection. Little shit like that bothers me, but just me playing solo and me occasionally playing cooperatively with friends. I think what hooked me is just the moment-to-moment action. Using your anomaly powers, I think, is really fun, especially because the game encourages it. As you rank up more and more and more, your cooldowns get less and less for these abilities, and they're kind of meant to be spent all the time. Always use your powers, always use your abilities. There is a cover system in place, but you're not really using it too much. It's also not very good, but you're not really supposed to use it too much because the game is throwing enemies at you, constantly flanking you and stuff like that. But because the game really wants you out there using your powers, doing crazy shit. And I think what has hooked me is that all the powers are meaningful. Everything feels like almost like a combo if you pull things off right. You zip here, you do this, you set these guys up with a stun, then you knock them down with this. And that's kind of even added with more chaos if you're playing with somebody else on your team. I think what is appealing to me personally, and again, I understand if people see this game and they go, ugh, generic, bland, another one of these, I'm with you. But I think for me, the little extra appeal I have is the People Can Fly angle, the Bulletstorm angle. So this is developed by People Can Fly, famous for Gears of War Judgment and Bulletstorm. Bulletstorm is one of my favorite creative first-person shooters ever. It's very much a product of the time of like the 2000 somethings, but it is fantastic and creative and combo based and just really appealing in like a cheesy, corny way. And I think that totally comes over to Outriders from the way your character is, who I think is the most likable thing in the entire story, the most interesting thing, your player created character, his or her goofy lines. I really kind of like, but also the fact that the powers and the way they combo and the way you can set them up, it all just kind of plays into this fun power fantasy type of thing that I think they just nail really effectively. It just feels like as soon as I started using these powers in tandem, I was like, oh, there's people can fly. There's those developers. All right, I get it. And like it almost even has like the Bulletstorm DNA in it a little bit, down to I'm pretty sure like the location marker objective when you hit the D-pad if you're playing on console. I'm pretty sure like it almost gives the bullets one of the Bulletstorm sound effects. And especially when you couple it with the loot stuff, which I'm usually not a fan of. I hate just endlessly picking up stupid loot and grinding and dismantling things and selling things and all that. But I think the mod crafting system and the ability to customize and stack certain things in such a deep way makes it that much more interesting. Every single little thing has a useful effect. So all the things you're piling on your character isn't just like giving you more critical hit chances or something boring like that. No, you get like the more creative stuff where like every time you reload, it's an AoE explosion, or you know, rolls give you more shield for some reason, or your gun can freeze dudes. And that coupled with the powers and coupled with how the game handles health and how you're supposed to be out there using your powers constantly, and you have to essentially be aggressive, play on the offense to actually heal and therefore also win, I think kind of makes it a good little hook. So yes, you're still just picking up shit, and it's like, okay, loot, 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 loot. You get a new gun every 5 minutes. But the further you get in, the more meaningful it gets. And I said that in my before you buy, and I think some people aren't super into the idea that a game gets good way later on down the road, but I really, really think that Outriders made a bad first impression with the demo. I think it's good that the developers have been out there and very transparent, and a lot of people have spoken about that, including the developers themselves. They didn't want smoke and mirrors. They're like, this is the game, fuck you, whatever. I think a lot of that stuff helps, and I think that makes up for the fact that like lots of weird bugs and crashes, just the fact that there's so many glitches, and the scene transitions to loading screens, and that the levels themselves, the layout feel like really, really, really outdated. That moment-to-moment gameplay and the character stat building and kind of making yourself this weird abstract killing machine that doesn't make any sense. That's the stuff that's really hooked with me, and I think that's why I like it. Also, the world tier system I think is like a creative way to give the player some freedom of choice in difficulty and challenge, and the level of risk reward, while also just giving it another like thing that you're leveling up, you're working towards, you're grinding towards, you know? So the world tier system, I think, really just is that little extra that I like. It's not like the first game to do something like this, but I just appreciate the way it's implemented here. I think those are the best elements of the game. Side note, I have been speaking to some people who have kind of been enjoying the story, and it just kind of seems like a sequence of whatever events, but it seems like story-wise it's kind of like a mix between Mass Effect, Gears of War, and James Cameron's Avatar, which we're friends here, right? I really like James Cameron's Avatar, and that's fine. So it's stupid, it's dumb, it's gruff, it's broken, it's weird, but having a lot of fun with it. I'm going to play it a ton more this weekend. I'm trying to get more legendary gear, which is something that I don't usually say out loud, especially because I don't really like these types of games. I appreciated Destiny, but never really stuck around with it long term. Any of those types of things. The only one that kind of stuck with me was The Division, but even those, they only hold me for so long. I'm curious to see if Outriders is going to do the same thing. Honestly, probably, but I'm having a good time with it for now. And I think that the best thing about it is the combat mixed with the character building and just some of that B-movie goofy weird charm that really, really helps it jump over the hurdles of the fact that it can be a little bland and generic in spots and busted in other spots. Do you get what I'm saying here? I appreciate you guys here with me talking this stuff out, because I just like talking about stuff I like, and this is what I've kind of really liked about Outriders. And I just, after reading the comments section of the Game Ranks Before You Buy and seeing how divided everybody is, Jake, how could you like this game? You must be bought and paid for. This game is clearly garbage. Look at it. Okay, yes, number one, not every opinion you disagree with is bought and paid for. That's besides the point. Number two, things can at the surface look bland, generic, whatever, another one of these. But when you get your hands on it, when you're 10 hours in, when you really learn the nuance of some things, maybe then you can learn to appreciate it more and not write like a nasty YouTube comment. That's just me, guys, though. I really am looking forward to like a civil and interesting conversation about this with you guys in the comments. I kind of wanted to just hash it out, like, why do I like this stupid game? So hopefully you get what I'm trying to go for here. If you are one of the people who are playing Outriders and you do enjoy it, I'd love to know why. Also, if you're one of the people that aren't into it, completely understand why. I'd love to hear what you're thinking. If you did give it a try, or if you just saw it and said, that type of game, nah, not for me. Because honestly, if it wasn't available on Game Pass or something like that, I probably would have just said, eh. But at the end of the day, I'm still glad I jumped in. So if you guys appreciate what I'm trying to do here, just talk about stuff I like. Just have a good time. Clicking the like button is the best way you can help me out. I would really appreciate that. If you're new, subscribing and hitting the notification bell would be a good idea, because I only put out a video or two a week, so I'm not going to spam you, I promise. But thank you guys for watching. I'm Jake Baldino. Subscribe because video games.